What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sir Splash. Before we get this video started, make sure to hit the like button and share my content. Definitely grinded on this one. Read over 500 classic Doctor Strange pages today. Going through everything, pretty much fried my brain reading it. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to make these videos in parts because there's so much information. So each Doctor Strange video will go over every story I read and scaling as we go along, kind of as a comprehensive scaling of Doctor Strange. And of course, we're starting with classic Doctor Strange, particularly from Strange Tales issue 110. With that being said, I'm going to go through it and I hope you enjoy. So, in Strange Tales issue 110, we see initially that Doctor Strange gets pulled up on while in Nightmare's dimension, and this is while he is in his metaphysical form. You will see classic Doctor Strange a lot of times use this form to either get around faster because it doesn't obey the typical laws of time and space, or just to fight in a different way. When Nightmare's trying to jump him, he calls across the quote, limitless void of time and space, and then blitzes away from Nightmare. Basically, he was trying to get the Ancient One to signal him, and then he got out of there. Moving on to Strange Tales, issue 111. Mordo, this is where we see him and Baron Mordo clash. Baron Mordo, in short, is the previous student of the Ancient One who turned dark because he couldn't really handle the power of studying the dark black mystic arts, and as a result, he's evil now. And he is considered the most dangerous force of that time. It is then also stated in the same issue that Strange is his equal in power. Despite being weakened and not as strong in his metaphysical form regardless, Strange's amulet, which is forever his go-to weapon in times of need, it can still pin Mordo down long enough for Strange to escape. We then skip ahead to Strange Tales 115. Back then, Strange Tales was like a culmination of different stories. When Doctor Strange really picked up is when it kind of became the mainstay, but now we're on Strange Tales 115. At this point in the nightmare, which is the dream dimension, the human eyes, quote, can't comprehend the dream dimension of Nightmare. Nightmare then acknowledges that Strange is his equal, as is the Ancient One. The Book of Ashanti has every known counterspell to mystic arts, which is something that Doctor Strange studies in order to combat whatever comes his way. Going into the realm of the dream dimension, he uses the path of Hoggoth. This is capable of protecting Doctor Strange even in a foreign, formidable dimension, so long as he remains on the path. His amulet is then revealed to have the capability of literally seeing through both evil and evil intent. Nightmare then acknowledges that he can't do anything to Strange while Strange is on the path. He can disrupt the path by breaking apart pieces ahead of him, but he can't actually do anything to Strange so long as he's touching it. In a, quote, microsecond, Strange blinds Nightmare, causes him to kill his own spiny beast, which has a touch of death capability, and he dips before Nightmare even understands what's going on, and this all occurred within a literal microsecond. Moving on to Strange Tales 117. Mordo is able to take a hold of Strange's home, and he does this via voodoo magic. He creates a replica and then uses it to control the home. He then teleports it to a strange dimension. Here, Strange must go ethereal in order to find out the truth. Ethereal, of course, is his metaphysical form. His amulet automatically can lead him to the source of this dark magic, kind of touching on, again, his amulet's power to see through evil, locate evil, all that. Strange has a ring which negs the dread magic of Dormammu that Mordo is using. He then uses this to blind and stun Mordo, then forces the magic itself back upon Mordo. Now, moving on to Strange Tales 118. Doctor Strange can render you immobile with just a look. He also has a mini-globe which allows him to see all happenings on Earth and detect evil, specifically dark magic evil. This is an issue in which people in a small village are being mentally controlled and taken over by creatures from a foreign dimension, and one of them is an empath, like one of the spirits possessing people, and it states that when it ran into Doctor Strange, it realizes that fear is not something Doctor Strange possesses. He's fearless. In this classic run, it's always talked upon his indomitable will and his lack of fear. He then casually traps the spirit possessor from another dimension and reads his mind effortlessly. Strange then uses his cape to leap through dimensions, and also states no power surpasses his because it is the abstract power of imagination, which is something we will be discussing both in future Doctor Strange videos and Marvel cosmology scaling videos. He then pulls up on the ruler of this dimension and beats the piss out of him. He then seals this dimension off from his own. Strange Tales issue 119 is next. Strange finds a gem that bridges to the purple dimension. He then easily transports there himself once he realizes the gem has been stolen. Strange matches the blast of Agamotto, who is all-powerful in the purple dimension. Their blast stalemates for literal hours, draining the life force from each. Strange wins this duel because of his willpower and curses Agamotto that if he takes captives again, he will never regain his full strength. He actually binds him to that. He's able to curse people and bind them to certain clauses that he comes up with. Now, Strange Tales 120. Strange's ethereal form can hop dimensions, but it can't get into this house that's being investigated as paranormal. However, his eye is able to see through it. He then goes in there, realizes it's not a ghost. It is actually home of a being from a different space-time continuum. He then banishes this presence from a different space-time and seals him there. Strange Tales 121. Despite danger fooling his global sensory device, Strange actually has a good enough defensive mechanism, aka precog/danger sense, to still feel he is in danger. His body, even if he is not in it, is constantly protected by the spells of the Vishanti. Mordo himself explains he can't do any harm to the physical body even when Strange is not there. His amulet, we then can see light waves and remake past physical events by looking upon the light rays in which the bodies and objects left. Mordo has an extra strong sealing barrier magic in which Doctor Strange can't get back into his body. This is when Doctor Strange kind of shows his cunning, and it took all of Mordo's strength to fight just a projection of Strange. So at this point, his spells were weakened. Strange was able to overcome it and get back into his body. Next up, we have Strange Tales 122, and slowly over these stories, Strange is getting stronger and stronger in power, as will be evidenced throughout the multiple runs in he has with the same characters. Now, his sleep spell, when he uses it, is shown to easily negate the effects of Nightmare. However, he forgets to cast it because he's so exhausted and doesn't use it. Nightmare then proclaims he has existed since the beginning of everything, which is pretty impressive, and is useful for when I drop my cosmology videos. Even while powerless in Nightmare's own imaginary dream-like realm, he is able to hypnotize Nightmare there in his own realm. Doctor Strange, it is then shown when he gets his power backs that he is superior to Nightmare, even when Nightmare is in his own realm. And this realm is actually just like a state of dreams. It's the dreams of the subconscious of everybody. And Doctor Strange here, at this point, when he has his full power, is like, Nightmare can't really touch me. Strange Tales 123. This is a huge feat for classic Loki. Loki claims Doctor Strange is superior to Thor. He then projects himself from Asgard in, quote, unimaginable distance. He then deceives Doctor Strange and is able to fool the amulet with the evil detection. He then is able to get Doctor Strange to get the hammer from Thor. He claims Thor is actually evil and tricks Strange. Strange summons a force that overrides Mjolnir's magical bindings and actually summons it. Loki and Doctor Strange, once Doctor Strange realizes he's been tricked, they start to throw hands. This is crazy because Loki, with just a fragment of his power, since this is just a projection of himself, is overwhelming Doctor Strange. Strange bends time in order to return Thor's hammer to him in time for Thor to scare off Loki. Loki, once more stated, stronger than Doctor Strange while only using a fragment of his power. This should scale Loki, even that fragment of power, above Nightmare in his own realm, even Baron Mordo at that point. It isn't really close. Also, the Vishanti are proclaimed to be deathless beyond death. It's just a random statement. These stories have random statements that are really good for scaling. Strange Tales 124. His ethereal form is revealed to be able to go anywhere nearly instantly because it isn't bound to the normal physical laws. He is able to bop a mystic named Zoda who uses power from the netherworld. He is also capable of stripping Zoda of this power. Upon returning back to his time, because he time traveled at this point, he gets caught in the limbo between, quote, chaos and reality. He actually falls out from the path of time-space into this very limbo in between reality and the beyond. His willpower at this point is so high that he is able to will himself illumination to show him where the temporal path is, and he makes it back safely. It's a crazy survival feat and willpower feat, as he was beyond reality at that point, stuck in between reality and the beyond. Strange Tales 125. Mystic assassins trying to sneak up on Strange get bopped instantly. Again, this showcases how good of precog Doctor Strange has. Mordo kinda says Strange is forever limited due to his morality and his moral code. Strange holds off this bloodlusted Mordo pretty effectively. At this point, we see in one scan that this battle can occur basically anywhere because to them, time and space has no actual meaning when they're in their ethereal form. At this point, it becomes a battle of strength in which the forces of light, which is what Doctor Strange channels, simply outscales the forces of darkness that Mordo calls upon. At this point, he hits Mordo with the amulet, and Mordo states he's basically being hit on all levels of his existence, his very being. He beat Mordo's ass so bad in this issue that the Ancient One predicts that Mordo won't want any smoke with Doctor Strange for a while. Moving on to Strange Tales 126. Dormammu's domain is between the real and the imaginary. It is like one of the realms going into that, and I'll explain more Dormammu's realm as we get into it. But this is the first major clash with Dormammu. Dormammu is the most powerful in the realm of mystic darkness. Dormammu even scales above Prime Ancient One, who states he was never able to actually take Dormammu. Strange has to go to the realm of Dormammu in order to defeat him before he comes to Earth. He defeats the first obstacle of demons. He beats a foe who actually gets stronger with hits from magic, so if you hit him with magic, it gets stronger. It actually starts off as a midget, and Strange is like, oh, I can beat a midget, and then it grows. But his magic is so strong, it actually overwhelms that. He gets sucked into a two-dimensional state of living and still wins. At this point, the demons in the realm, and they actually get banished for this, they question whether or not Doctor Strange actually scales to Dormammu. Dormammu at this point shows he is able to easily and casually banish his own people to Limbo. Dormammu at this point is stated to be the strongest dark magic user. Dormammu's realm and the distance itself from everywhere else is quoted as this, which is crazy. Our mystical saga begins in a dimension so alien, so incredible, so utterly beyond human comprehension. There are no words in any earthly language to accurately describe it, for this is the dimension of the dread Dormammu. So this realm is beyond our actual ability to describe it accurately and comprehend it accurately. We can conceptualize transcendent states of being, transcendent places, outerversal places, but we can't actually comprehend them and properly describe what's there because it's beyond our very comprehension. So this is a very good argument for at least classic Dormammu. I will be checking, of course, as I read if it gets retconned, but classic Dormammu in his true form, in his true realm, as being out reversal. And remember, Doctor Strange is here as we speak. We then learn that his realm is constantly holding off the mindless ones from a different realm, and that they are a threat to everybody that resides within Dormammu's dark realm if the shield is not up. Strange and Dormammu begin to actually swap hands. Dormammu actually can't beat Doctor Strange without compromising the realm itself because he draws upon the power. The realm is Dormammu, essentially. And when he draws upon the power, he weakens the barrier. And the mindless ones can come in. Dormammu doesn't want his people to die, so he has to give up the fight and give Strange the victory. Moving on to Strange Tales 128, we now learn that Strange is now amped from the Cloak of Levitation and other things he's gained from the Ancient One. His astral form, he's taken by someone named the Demon, and it's shown that his astral form can bypass the bands of Sidorak themselves. He instantly knows the spells and capabilities of his foe by scanning everything he owns. He also forces him to fight a projection, similar to what he did to Mordo. He makes quick work of the Demon, who knows Strange actually holds back and fights. He makes the Demon renounce magic unless he wants to get the paws put on him again. So you'll notice Doctor Strange does that to a lot of people. He's like, yo, either you renounce what you do, I'm going to beat your ass again, and they renounce it. Next, we have probably the funniest issue I read, Strange Tales 129 versus Toboro, the Tyrant of the Sixth Dimension. Now, I'm not entirely sold that this actually is a spatial dimension it's referring to. It might just be a dimension, but it's still a funny story, so... He states magic itself. Basically, a bunch of humans pull up like Discord goons and they challenge him to debate the logic behind mysticism and magic itself. Doctor Strange states he can't debate them on the logic behind magic because magic transcends logic itself. It is beyond human comprehension, so there's literally no point in trying to logically make sense of it. This is crazy because this shows like the higher ends of Marvel's magic should be out reversal because they're beyond human logic and human comprehension. The Ancient One is shown to still be a little more knowledgeable than Doctor Strange, as Doctor Strange still has to consult him for certain things. Toboro is shown to have been a former ruler of Earth, at the very minimum Earth, maybe the universe, but probably Earth itself. He's from the sixth dimension. Again, it's not really clear if this is a spatial reference. But anyways, when the Earth is in chaos and war and lacks trust and good, he shows up to take it. And at this point, Doctor Strange pulls up, gets him to put down his wand, and then Doctor Strange takes off his magical artifacts, and they literally throw hands. And he actually puts the paws on Toboro. It is hilarious. Toboro then has to resort to magic because Doctor Strange's hands are like that. Doctor Strange, arguably in this run, proves like he might have a strong case for top 10 martial artists in Marvel. His hands are crazy. But Toboro uses the spell of totality against Strange, in which Strange is able to negate, and then he casually bops Toboro and makes him promise not to try any of his crap again on Earth. Now, Strange Tales 130. If you're sticking with me through all this time, I appreciate it, because you appreciate how much I had to read. Mordo ends up getting amped in order to run up on Strange. Again, we previously stated Mordo was no longer really in the ballpark of Strange, and that he would need to get reasonably stronger in order to challenge Strange. Dormammu, it turns out, is the one amping up Mordo in order to beat Strange. At this point, again, we have another showing of Doctor Strange having a very good sense for danger to help him bop multiple mystics using things like illusions and clones, and destroys them all. Strange Tales 132. The Eye of Agamotto, it is actually revealed that it is too powerful of an artifact for even a Dormammu amped Mordo to destroy. Mordo, at this point in their fight, is hitting him with Dormammu's actual power. Like, he's basically relying on the power of Dormammu. Strange's willpower is actually weaponized and begins to weaken Mordo in their clash. Dormammu actually has to run interference and take over in this fight. Now we move on to Strange Tales 133. At this point, Dormammu hits Strange and BFRs him and banishes him to, quote, infinite, endless dimensions, to a nameless land a timeless time. At this point, it is stated humans can't calculate or comprehend the speed at which Doctor Strange is traveling as he makes his way, after a brief scuffle with the mystic there, he makes his way back to where he came from. And it is stated that all of these dimensions, not only are they infinite and endless themselves, but there's an endless space between them, which is absurd. Strange Tales 134. Like I said, quote, he traveled through infinite, endless dimensions that had endless gaps in between them. Once again, it kind of describes the distance of the dark dimension. It is, quote, indescribably far away. At this point, Ancient One is kind of out of the picture as far as like it's been knocked out in a coma, but his last words were search for eternity, and Strange begins a quest to search for the meaning of eternity. Strange Tales 135. He tanks a spell hailing from Dormammu, then one-shots the guy and severs Mordo's connection, because as you remember, Mordo's working with Dormammu. This happened so fast that Baron Mordo, who previously scaled to microsecond, mystical microsecond Strange, can't even comprehend what happened. Like, he doesn't even know. That's how fast Strange moved. He then bops a demon of the netherworld who has imprisoned people throughout all of the ages. He then rules and decrees that dimension itself is a threat to the existence of Earth and destroys the dimension. Doctor Strange literally bops the dimension, seals it away. Strange Tales 137. At this point, he has to get into the mind of the Ancient One to learn the meaning of eternity, and he fights off continuous mental traps of the Ancient One, traps built over all his times of the practice of the mystic arts. All this is while Doctor Strange is amping him because the Ancient One needs energy in order to live. He casts a spell so strong in this issue that, quote, this was crazy, I have to read it to you. Then does Doctor Strange recite one of the most potent spells of all time, in words so secret, phrases so soul-shattering, that we dare not reveal them here to your mortal gaze. So the reader is not even allowed to gaze upon the spell itself, because it should at the very least be a threat to us as people, because we're mortal. That is absurd. I don't even really know how to quantify that, but his magic is a threat to the real world, apparently. Now, this is when Doctor Strange makes it to the realm of eternity, which itself is beyond the capability of describing. It is a description-defying dimension. Time and space, as we know it as a concept, is deemed meaningless here. Eternity then begins speaking to him, and his words are beyond words themselves, and his voice is beyond an actual voice itself. This is crazy scaling for eternity, because you got to remember what I scaled Dormammu to previously in this video, and you'll see why it's crazy. Eternity has transcendental power, according to Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange at this point doesn't even move or say anything. He says his power is beyond measure, and it's nothing like anything before, which means eternity is vastly beyond even the Dormammu we saw in his outerversal realm. Once again, it is reinstated that eternity is indescribably beyond all power that Strange himself actually knows. Strange is seeking an amp from eternity to beat both Dormammu and Mordo. Obviously, an amp from eternity would be insane and he would one-shot, but eternity reveals that Strange himself already scales to Dormammu and Mordo in his own way, and that he just needs the wisdom to realize his power. Strange Tales 139. This is kind of proof Dormammu was scared as hell of the eternity amp. When he sees Doctor Strange, he's like, yo, what amp did you get from eternity? And he's like, nah, I didn't get an amp. And he's like, oh, thank God. This is when they fight again. Strange holds off the Dormammu amped Mordo. He actually is able to deflect one attack from this amped Mordo with only a fraction of his power. At this point, you have to understand these issues are literally happening back to back. Doctor Strange literally almost never gets time to rest. He's constantly fighting stuff, constantly getting pulled up on, whether in different realms or the realm of his own. Literally, when he tries to sleep, Nightmare pulls up on him. So he's like, he's constantly fatigued, constantly struggling to maintain his power because of what he's put through. But he's still, because of his indomitable will, is able to produce. Strange makes Mordo then think that Strange has learned a spell only eternity would know. Basically makes him believe he has split himself in the physical and metaphysical, and that both are equally as powerful, and Mordo basically pees himself. Dormammu then claims that Doctor Strange outfought Mordo the entire time, despite the amp. Dormammu then has to intervene from, quote, many, many infinities away. Strange Tale 140. This confirms that Doctor Strange won against even amped Mordo. He bullies non-amped Mordo at that point. Like, Mordo starts talking trash, and Strange's like, shut up, you're irrelevant. This is when we see that Ancient One, Mordo, and Doctor Strange have been sent to the very edge of infinity itself. There, Dormammu pulls up and brings rulers and like demons from every known dimension, and states he is going to fight Doctor Strange and that the winner will preside over every single dimension. Dormammu is obviously stronger than every demon of the known dimensions because they stated themselves that they're very scared. There's nothing they could do to Dormammu if he wins. Like, even if they don't want him to rule, he would still bop them. So this is crazy. But Strange begins to fight Dormammu. It's a fight it's like a mystical knife fight. They literally have pinchers of power, double blade like objects, and start fighting in a battle of skill. Dormammu is actually matched by Doctor Strange. It's also reiterated that we can't quantify or truly grasp the distance from the dark dimension once again, signifying the scaling of that dimension. Because a girl that is like falling in love with Doctor Strange, actually has helped him at some points, is trapped there and is watching the battle from there because Dormammu told her she's going to witness the death of Doctor Strange. Strange once again proves skillfully he is Dormammu's match. He also messes up Dormammu and says that humans have something called judo, and he uses judo on Dormammu, and it's hilarious. But Marvel humans are OP. Like, Doctor Strange had to call upon a, quote, omnipotent force to move humans at one point. Like, they do wall out. I'll do a joke video on humans later. But anyways, uses judo, gets the better of Dormammu. And at this point, Mordo had to interfere because Dormammu was beaten fairly by Doctor Strange. Strange Tales 141. Dormammu confirms the winner rules every single dimension. At this point, he said, yeah, it's a cheap way to win. I didn't want Mordo. He actually banishes Mordo. He didn't want Mordo to interfere. But it is what it is, and he says he's the winner. Strange then gets up and says he can still fight. Dormammu claims he could casually existence erase Strange. It might be a weird flex. It might actually be true, given what we know about Dormammu. Dormammu gets stronger, but Strange is more cunning and skilled and is actually the winner. Strange Tales 142. We see Strange get confronted by a telepath when he gets trapped, and his mind is, quote, infinitely beyond this telepathic mystic. This was revealed to be the demon from previous stories, and the demon's gotten stronger, but it literally doesn't matter. He was infinitely beyond him, and at this point, he broke the will of the demon. It's just his nickname, by the way. I don't think he's a real demon, but breaks his will, which is embarrassing for the person in charge of the demon. At this point, he defeats the goons of this very same person while blinded, and his hands are bricked off, and he escapes to find out who's been messing with him. But anyways, that is the first part of my comprehensive scale of Doctor Strange, starting with the Strange Tales. Let me know what you think. Obviously, there's some crazy showings with what is revealed from classic Dark Dimension and Dormammu. The fact that Strange pulled up there, held his own, fought him pretty evenly, and then fought him again once more. Ran into Eternity. Eternity is revealed to scale far beyond Dormammu. A lot of crazy scaling. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will be dropping double videos today. My next video has to do with Kengan. I hope you guys read Kengan Ashra, Kengan Omega. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment. It's been your boy, Sir Splash, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.